All right, so you guys have been asking about it, and we're finally diving into it. Viking Therapeutics.
Yeah,
This is the biotech company that everyone's talking about,
absolutely.
because their stock has just exploded in 2024.
It has.
And we're going to see if this rocket ride is sustainable or if we're headed for a crash landing.
Right.
We're going to be unpacking an article from the Motley Fool for this deep dive.
Okay.
They're the finance pros, so we're going to see what they have to say.
Sounds good.
So,
Well, what's interesting is Viking Therapeutics is riding this massive wave.
okay.
The market for weight loss drugs is projected to more than double
Wow.
from $50 billion to over $100 billion annually by 2029.
Okay.
And the surge is driven by a few factors.
Okay.
We have an aging population.
Right.
They are more susceptible to weight-related health issues.
Yeah.
We have rising obesity rates globally.
Mm.
And there's a growing awareness of the serious health risks
Yeah.
associated with obesity.
That's a tidal wave of money.
It is.
And Viking is hoping to ride that wave to the top with their new drug, VK2735.
VK2735.
What makes this drug so special?
So their phase 2 venture study results are impressive.
Okay.
Participants achieved an average weight loss of 14.7% in just 13 weeks.
That's incredible.
At the highest dose.
Wow. Okay.
And that's significant because that actually outperforms some of the current leading weight loss medications.
Right.
But what really has people buzzing is that patients maintained most of this weight loss 4 weeks after their last dose.
That's huge.
It is.
That implies that people might only need monthly injections instead of weekly injections.
Right.
Which is required for competitors like Ozempic and Mounjaro.
Mm-hmm.
So convenience
Absolutely.
could be a major selling point.
Huge selling point.
But let's unpack this phase 2 trial a little bit further.
Okay.
What exactly were they measuring in this trial, and what did the results tell us about the drug's potential?
So the trial focused on a few key things, weight loss, of course, but also changes in body composition.
Okay.
Like reductions in fat mass and increases in lean mass. And improvements in metabolic markers like blood sugar and cholesterol levels.
Right.
And the results are really encouraging across the board.
Oh, wow.
VK2735 not only led to significant weight loss,
Right.
but also demonstrated positive effects on these other important health indicators.
Okay.
Which suggests that it may offer broader metabolic benefits beyond just weight management.
That's really promising.
Yeah.
And, before we get into the potential concerns, I have to ask about this oral version of VK2735 that's in development.
Mm-hmm.
Is that showing similar promise?
It's early,
Yeah.
but the data is encouraging.
Yeah.
After just 28 days,
Yep.
participants taking the oral version experienced an average weight loss of 6.8%.
Right.
And that's better than other oral weight loss drugs
Oh, wow.
currently being developed by some major pharmaceutical companies.
So we have a potential blockbuster drug,
Yeah,
maybe even two, in a market that's about to explode.
it is.
Sounds like a no-brainer investment, right?
Oh, well, not so fast.
Okay.
Well, VK2735 is incredibly exciting.
Yeah.
There are some crucial things to consider.
Okay.
Let's start with the company's valuation.
Okay.
Viking Therapeutics currently has a market cap of $7.5 billion.
Wow.
And this is before they've even brought a single product to market.
Oh, wow.
That's a hefty price tag based solely on expectations.
So the market is really betting big on VK2735's success.
They are.
But how does a clinical stage company with no revenue justify such a high valuation?
So it all comes down to potential.
Okay.
The market sees VK2735 as a potential game changer,
Mm-hmm.
and that's reflected in the stock price.
Right.
However, it's crucial to understand how this valuation is calculated
Okay.
and what it means for potential investors.
All right.
Essentially, the market is pricing in the future revenue that Viking Therapeutics could generate
I
if VK2735 is approved and becomes a commercial success.
So they're really banking on
They are.
this drug working out
Yeah.
and them getting a lot of sales.
Exactly.
Okay.
This includes factors like the size of the potential market,
Sure.
the drug's expected pricing,
Right.
and the company's projected market share.
So investors are essentially buying into the future,
They are.
hoping that VK2735 is going to live up to the hype
Right.
and generate massive returns.
Absolutely.
But this also sounds like a risky proposition.
It can be.
So what are some of the potential downsides that investors should be aware of?
So there are several.
Okay.
First and foremost,
Yeah.
VK2735 is still in the clinical trial phase.
Okay.
While the phase 2 results are encouraging,
Right.
There's no guarantee that the drug will be successful in the larger and more rigorous phase 3 trials,
Okay.
which haven't even begun yet.
And even if the phase 3 trials are successful,
Yeah,
there's still the hurdle of regulatory approval.
right.
The FDA has to review the data
They do.
and decide whether the drug is safe and effective for widespread use. And that can take a while.
It can.
And let's not forget the competitive landscape.
Absolutely.
As we mentioned earlier, the weight loss market is already crowded,
It is.
with established players like Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly,
Yep.
not to mention other emerging companies.
All the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Viking Therapeutics will face stiff competition.
Yeah.
And its success will depend on factors like pricing, marketing,
Sure.
and the ability to differentiate VK2735 from other drugs on the market.
So while the potential rewards are enticing,
They are.
it's crucial for investors to understand that investing in Viking Therapeutics at this stage
Yeah,
carries a significant amount of risk.
absolutely.
What are your thoughts on the current valuation? Justified optimism or irrational exuberance?
That's the million-dollar question.
It really is.
It's a complex situation with no easy answers.
Right.
The market is clearly excited about VK2735,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of potential for significant returns if the drug is successful. However, it's important to remember that potential doesn't always translate into reality.
Right.
Investing in a company at this stage is a gamble,
Yeah.
and there's no guarantee of a payoff.
Okay, let's dive a little deeper into the science behind VK2735.
Okay.
What makes this drug different from other weight loss medications on the market?
So what's fascinating about VK2735 is that it works by selectively targeting specific receptors in the brain
Okay.
that regulate appetite and energy expenditure.
Interesting.
These receptors are called glucagon-like peptide-1 receptors, or GLP-1 receptors.
Okay.
And they play a crucial role in how our bodies manage food intake and metabolism.
So by activating these receptors,
Yeah.
VK2735 essentially tricks the brain
Yes.
into thinking that the body is fuller and needs less food?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a really clever approach that leverages the body's natural mechanisms to promote weight loss.
That is really clever.
And what's even more intriguing is that VK2735 appears to be highly selective
Okay.
for these GLP-1 receptors, meaning it has a lower likelihood of causing side effects associated with activating other receptors in the brain.
That's really interesting.
That is.
So VK2735 might offer a more targeted and potentially safer approach to weight loss.
Right.
Compared to some other medications.
That's the hope.
But of course, more research is needed to confirm this.
Absolutely.
And we'll be keeping a close eye on the upcoming phase 3 trials to see how the data unfolds.
Definitely.
Now, let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the broader implications of these new weight loss drugs.
Okay.
What do you think the impact on society could be if VK2735 and other similar medications become widely available?
That's a complex question.
It is.
With far-reaching implications.
Yeah.
On the one hand,
Yeah.
these drugs have the potential to significantly improve public health.
Right.
Obesity is a major health crisis linked to a wide range of chronic diseases.
Sure.
And effective treatments could help millions of people live healthier lives.
Right.
But as we discussed earlier, there are also potential downsides to consider, such as the risk of exacerbating health disparities
Right.
if these drugs are not accessible to everyone.
Yeah. It's a really valid concern.
It is.
And also, we need to be mindful of the potential impact on societal perceptions of body image and weight.
Absolutely.
We need to ensure that these drugs are used responsibly
Right.
and don't fuel unrealistic beauty standards or a quick fix mentality.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's crucial to remember that healthy weight management is about more than just taking medication.
It is.
It's about adopting a holistic approach
Yeah.
that includes lifestyle changes like diet and exercise.
Absolutely.
And it's important for healthcare providers to have open and honest conversations with their patients about the risks and benefits of these medications, ensuring that they are used appropriately and as part of a comprehensive weight management plan.
I agree.
So it seems like this new wave of weight loss drugs brings both potential benefits and challenges.
It does.
We need to be thoughtful about how we integrate these innovations into our healthcare system and society as a whole.
I completely agree.
It's an exciting time in the field of weight loss treatment,
It is.
but we need to proceed with caution
Right.
and ensure that these advancements benefit everyone in a responsible and equitable way.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that's a great place to pause for now.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
They have.
But there's still much more to explore.
Definitely.
We'll be back in a moment to continue our deep dive into Viking Therapeutics.
Okay.
And its potential impact on the weight loss market.
Sounds good. Welcome back.
So we've talked about the science behind VK2735.
Right.
The potential risks and rewards for investors.
Yep.
And the broader societal implications of this new wave of weight loss drugs.
It's exciting.
But I want to go back to Viking Therapeutics for a moment.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on their current valuation?
Yeah.
Is it justified, or is it a sign of overblown hype?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
As we mentioned earlier, Viking Therapeutics is currently valued at a whopping $7.5 billion, despite having no products on the market.
It's crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
And that valuation is based entirely on the market's expectation that VK2735 will be a huge success.
Well, it was a bet on the future.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Investors are essentially saying, we believe this drug is going to be a blockbuster, and we're willing to pay a premium for a piece of the action.
Wow.
But there's inherent risk in that kind of speculation.
Oh, absolutely.
What if the drug doesn't live up to the hype?
Right.
What if there are unexpected side effects?
Yeah.
What if a competitor develops a better drug?
There are so many what ifs.
There are a lot of unknowns.
So how should investors be thinking about this?
Yeah.
Should they be buying into the hype or proceeding with caution?
I think a balanced approach is key.
Okay.
It's important to acknowledge the potential of VK2735.
Sure.
But it's equally important to recognize the risks involved. Investing in a company at this stage is a gamble, and there's no guarantee of a payoff.
All right. So let's say someone is interested in investing in Viking Therapeutics.
Okay.
What are some things they should be looking for to help them make an informed decision?
Well, first and foremost, I would recommend taking a close look at the phase 2 clinical trial data for VK2735.
Okay.
Look beyond the headlines and dig into the details.
Right.
What were the endpoints measured?
Yeah.
How did the drug perform across different doses? Were there any safety concerns?
It's all about understanding the nuances of the data.
Exactly. And don't just focus on the positive results.
Right.
Look for any red flags,
Okay.
any potential weaknesses in the data.
Sure.
Remember, clinical trials are complex, and there's always a margin of error.
So it's about being a critical consumer of information.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And beyond the clinical data,
Yeah.
it's important to consider the competitive landscape.
Okay.
Who are Viking Therapeutics' main competitors. How does VK2735 compare to other drugs in development or already on the market?
We talked earlier about Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly as major players in this market.
Right, and there are others as well.
Yeah.
The weight loss drug market is becoming increasingly crowded.
Right.
So it's crucial to understand how VK2735 stacks up against the competition.
Okay.
Does it offer any unique advantages? Does it have a better safety profile? Is it more convenient to use?
Those are all great questions to consider.
They are?
So it sounds like making an informed investment decision in Viking Therapeutics
Yeah,
requires a lot of research and careful analysis.
it does. And I think that's a good reminder for any investment decision. Don't just follow the hype or rely on gut feeling.
Right.
Do your homework, understand the risks, and invest wisely.
Well, I think that's some excellent advice for all of us.
I hope so.
As we wrap up this deep dive into Viking Therapeutics,
Yeah.
I want to leave our listeners with a final thought-provoking question.
Oh, I love where this is going. Hit us with it.
If VK2735 gets approved and lives up to the hype, what do you think the long-term impact on the weight loss market will be?
Okay.
Will it revolutionize the industry, or will it simply become another option in an already crowded field?
That's a fantastic question.
Yeah.
And I think it's one that deserves a lot of thought. I believe VK2735 has the potential to be a significant player in the market.
Okay.
Especially if the monthly dosing regimen proves to be as effective as the initial data suggests.
I agree. The convenience factor could be a game changer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if VK2735 is successful,
Right.
it could pave the way for other companies to develop similar drugs,
Okay.
leading to increased competition and innovation in the weight loss market.
And ultimately, that could benefit consumers
Absolutely.
by providing them with more choices and potentially lower prices.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that the development and approval of new drugs is a lengthy and unpredictable process.
Right.
There are no guarantees that VK2735 will succeed.
Of course.
And there are certainly challenges ahead for Viking Therapeutics.
So as we've discussed throughout this deep dive,
Yep.
It's all about balancing the potential with the risks and making informed decisions based on the best available information.
Absolutely.
Well said. And we encourage our listeners to continue following the Viking Therapeutics story.
Yes.
And to stay informed about the latest developments in the ever-evolving world of weight loss treatments.
It's a fascinating space.
It is.
A lot going on.
Thanks for joining us on this fascinating deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be back soon with another intriguing topic to explore.
Okay.
Until then, keep those brains buzzing.
Yes.
And happy learning.
Stay curious, everyone.
So we've been talking a lot about the potential of VK2735.
Yeah.
Both as a potential investment opportunity for those watching Viking Therapeutics,
right,
but also in terms of its impact on the weight loss market.
Absolutely.
But before we wrap up, I'm curious about the bigger picture.
Okay.
What do you think the long-term impact of these new weight loss drugs will be on society as a whole?
That's a question with a lot of layers.
Yeah.
It's like we're standing at the edge of a new frontier.
Right.
And there's both excitement and uncertainty about what lies ahead.
Right.
On the one hand, we have the potential to significantly improve public health.
Of course.
Obesity is a major health concern linked to heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and even some types of cancer.
Right.
If these drugs prove effective and accessible, they could help millions of people live longer, healthier lives.
It's almost like we're on the cusp of a paradigm shift in how we approach weight management.
It really is.
Yeah.
But as with any major societal shift, there are potential drawbacks we need to consider.
Of course.
We've already touched on the issue of accessibility and the risk of these treatments becoming available only to those who can afford them, potentially exacerbating existing health disparities.
Right. And I keep thinking about the societal pressure surrounding weight and body image. Will these new drugs fuel unrealistic expectations or lead to further stigmatization of those struggling with weight?
Those are valid concerns.
Yeah.
It's crucial that we approach this new wave of weight loss treatments with careful consideration of their broader societal impact. You know, it's not just about developing effective drugs, but also about fostering a culture of health and well-being that doesn't equate thinness with worthiness.
That's a great point.
And how do you think these drugs might impact other industries like the food industry?
Oh, that's really interesting.
It's fascinating to consider the potential ripple effects.
Yeah.
So if people are taking medications that help them feel less hungry and eat less, we might see a shift in consumer demand towards foods that are lower in calories. Okay.
And higher in nutritional value.
Interesting.
This could lead to changes in food production and marketing with a greater emphasis on quality over quantity.
So a potential shift in focus from more food to better food.
Exactly.
That's an interesting thought.
And it might even spur innovation in food technology as companies race to develop products that complement these new weight loss medications, focusing on satiety and providing essential nutrients in smaller portions.
Wow. So it sounds like we're about to embark on a fascinating journey with these new weight loss drugs.
I think
a journey full of potential benefits and challenges.
Absolutely.
Well, to wrap things up, what's one key takeaway you'd like to leave our listeners with today?
I would encourage listeners to stay informed,
Okay.
engage in thoughtful discussion, and approach this new frontier with a healthy dose of curiosity and critical thinking.
That's great advice.
You know, there are no easy answers.
But by staying engaged
Yeah.
and asking the right questions,
Absolutely.
we can help shape a future where these advancements are used responsibly and equitably
Right.
for the benefit of all.
Excellent advice.
I try.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a truly insightful conversation.
It has.
We'll be back soon with another fascinating topic.
Okay, sounds good.
Until then, stay curious.